So, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining this virtual collegiate exploration sponsored by the Virginia Association for Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers and StriveScan for all Virginia students. So a few quick reminders for you, of course, is one, we cannot actually see your beautiful faces and hear you. Your mic and your camera is off, which is perfectly fine for us. You'll be able to actively see our lovely panelists as they're speaking, but we can't see you. So that is going to be important for you to utilize the Q&A button. That way you can ask questions properly, either to specific institutions or just general questions, and they'll be able to answer those. We also really want you to sign up for other sessions and share with your friends and your family members that we have a lot of really cool sessions happening for you, and you can access all of this at www.strivescan.com/Virginia. You can also access all of this information on that same webpage once the session ends. So for some reason, if you have to run to the bathroom, or if you're just missing a certain portion, or if your audio starts acting a little funky, you will be able to access the recording at that same webpage 1 week from today. So again, welcome, and I'm going to hand it off to our panelists.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm Alan Smith. I'm Associate Director of Admissions at Concord University, and we've partnered up with a few other colleges here, and you'll have the opportunity to hear from them and I'll let themselves introduce themselves. But we put together a presentation on what we feel like is very important for you to do when you're visiting a college or a university, when you're taking your tour. So hopefully you can find some of this information beneficial for you. And we have hopefully allowed a lot of time or ample time at the end for you to ask us some questions. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it off to Jessie, and she's going to start us off.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessie. I am a senior admissions counselor at Briar College in the western part of the state of Virginia. We're really excited you're here. So I wanted to go over the types of college visits that you might experience. The one that's really popular are open houses. They might also be called admitted student days or accepted student days. And these are a great opportunity for you to visit campus with lots of other students that are also looking at the same school. You might find your roommate here. You might find some other friends to hang out with. Looking forward to that once you guys start at your institution. You'll also have a chance to meet with faculty, staff, and current students, so you can really feel what it's like to be a student at that school you're looking at. These are usually 3 to 4 hours long, so they take a pretty decent chunk of your day. You might need to come in the day before, depending on how far away the school you're looking at is from home. And that's actually a great opportunity to explore the area a little bit more and see, what else there is to do around the schools you're looking at. The next day is a scholarship day. These are usually invite only, where you might need to meet a certain GPA and SAT or ACT score to be invited to compete for additional scholarship money. Not all schools offer this, but definitely check into it. I know financially is important for almost everybody looking at colleges. This day usually consists of interviews, panels, meeting faculty, maybe having lunch with faculty. They're a little bit more structured than open house days, and it's usually a full day long. Then we also have individual visits. These are ones where you schedule, a day during the week or maybe on a weekend to come visit the campus, do a tour, and then kind of be on your way. It's about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours long. You'll still get to tour campus, meet with some staff and students. You might be able to sit in on a class that might not be offered right now because of COVID, but there are definitely other opportunities to interact with professors and get a great feel for the school. Definitely eat lunch in the dining hall if you can. You might be able to attend an athletic game or a practice, meet with some coaches. They can kind of take as long as you want. So the shortest it would take is maybe an hour to an hour and a half. It could take all day, depending on how much you want to see. And then, especially because of COVID, a lot of schools have been offering virtual visits where you get to tour campus from the comfort of your home. Some schools have these on their website 24/7. So if you get the urge at 3 a.m. to look at a school, you can probably find their U-Visit or their virtual visit, whatever it's called for their school, on their website. But you might also be able to register for a visit that's a guided virtual tour. So an admissions counselor or a student ambassador will be guiding you through the tour, talking about different stops, different fun traditions, or different events that happen on campus at different locations. And it's a great way to look at schools that might not be very close to home, or that you're not sure if you want to visit. So it's kind of like a good starting point, especially with COVID and not being ready to travel. These usually take about an hour, so they're great if you are short on time, or if mom and dad want to watch with you, they offer them at different times. So I'm going to pass it off to the next presenter to go over what to see while you're on campus.
All right, thank you, Jesse. So first of all, one of the things you definitely want to see, it may go without saying, you want to see what classrooms, what they look like. Are there different types of classrooms for freshmen? Are those general studies classes in a different type of classroom setting than maybe your higher level 400, 300 level courses? Are there facilities, or is there equipment that is specific to your major? What is that? Does your school, if you're interested in majoring in broadcasting journalism, does that school offer some sort of TV lab? And will you get to participate in that? When do you get to participate in that? So being able to touch and kind of see those facilities that you will have class in from your freshman to your senior year, I think is very important. And I think it'll also give you a very good feeling for what the average class size is. Are you someone who wants to be in a bigger school environment, or maybe a smaller school environment, or maybe that may not matter to you, but it is always good to be able to see the classroom size. Of course, going to class is number one. That's priority number one, but you got to have some leisure time. You got to make some me time every day and have that balance. So you want to find out where students go to hang out on campus and off campus, and what are the events that they have that involve recreation or leisure events, such as maybe comedians, musicians, any types of entertainment. Where is that held on campus? Where do students kind of nonchalantly hang out? What do they do? Where are they tossing a frisbee around, or just hanging around talking, whatever the case may be. And also, as Jesse kind of pointed out, checking out the area around the campus. What do students do? And where do they go off the campus? So during your college visit, you want to be able to check out that town around you and see if it's conducive to your social style. Of course, you also want to be able to relieve some stress. Your personal fitness is, of course, very important to you. And, does the campus you're visiting, do they have a fitness center? Is it easily accessible? What are the hours? So you want to be able to at least see that while you're on campus. And like I said, it's a vital part of your education in your everyday life, help you keep off the freshman 15 and be worry and stress-free. Residence halls are very, very important. I think that's on the minds of most people. Where do I live? And what's it going to look like when I'm on campus? So it's very, very important. Definitely check out those rooms. Some colleges may have residence halls dedicated to freshmen and some to seniors and et cetera. Some mix the upperclassmen with the underclassmen all together, but you want to be able to see that. What are the difference between the residence halls? Do they have suite style halls, or do you have traditional style halls? And you want to be able to see as many facilities and rooms in both of those halls. Is there a difference in the cost and what those residence halls have to offer? So, there might be a Butler Hall on campus and a Smith Hall on campus. And initially thinking, you might say, hey, Butler Hall sounds good. But after visiting campus and looking in Smith Hall, you find out that it may offer a few more things you're interested in, maybe a few dollars cheaper, maybe the same. You just don't know until you ask those questions and see those facilities. And how do you reserve your space? That's very important. Every college is going to be a little bit different on that. There's a timeline and a procedure for that, but you want to know that because some things could be kind of time sensitive, and sometimes they may make you wait until you're accepted before you can reserve your room on campus. They may be first come, first serve on a first come, first serve basis, So those are very, very important questions to ask in terms of your living arrangement. If you're anything like me when I was 18 years old, actually even now, I always worried about where you're going to eat. So definitely eat while you're on campus. That's very important. You might have to eat that food for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Hopefully not that long, but hopefully just for the next 4 years. But what are the options available? What do they fix every day? What eateries are available on campus outside or in addition to the main cafeteria? Is it all you can eat? That's what's going to be my main question when I was an 18-year-old coming out of high school into college. And a lot of times admissions offices will take care of the cost for you to dine on campus during your visit. So definitely, even if they don't, it's a great idea if you can eat, but also find out what is around in the nearby area in terms of eating, because you won't always eat on campus. You're always going to change things up a little bit and keep a variety of dining options available to you. So if you do have the opportunity in your amount of time on campus, you can check out some dining options in the area. And one of the other things of course you want to know about is campus safety. I think that's on the minds and hearts of all people anywhere. Anything can happen anywhere at any time. And so you want to make sure that those campuses that you're visiting are prepared for emergency situations, text messaging systems, alarms, and also what happens, of course, I think very important mommy question is, if my baby gets sick, hey, where can they go? Is there a place for them to go? Do you have a nurse or a PA on campus that can administer needs if they have a common cold or whatever the case may be? So that's very, very important. And also we hope that no one gets to a point where you're so stressed out that you feel like you can't handle things, but you may just need someone to go talk to, and make sure that there are counseling services available and that resource is there. So if you need to bounce something off someone, they're there to do that, and you can do that in a confidential manner. That being said, I'm going to pass it off to Ricky, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about who to see while you're on campus.
Hey guys, my name is Ricky Butler, and I am an admissions advisor for Glenville State College, and we're going to talk about who to see on your visit. So first stop is going to be the admissions team. Most likely when you're touring campus, you're going to go ahead and go straight to the admissions office and meet with a counselor. It's not always going to be your specific counselor, but they'll go over the admissions requirements with you, whether that's your transcripts from high school. If you've taken any sort of college credits, they're going to want those transcripts as well. Immunization records. I know right now your test scores in some institutions are going to be waived because of the craziness, but they're going to go over all of that with you to help you get everything lined up. And then they're also going to go over the tuition and kind of break that down for you. And any kind of institutional aid that they may have there at their college or university, merit-based scholarships, that's important. Kind of know what you need to score or what your GPA needs to be in order to get that aid. And then most importantly, they're going to give you some free stuff. You're going to have an application that fee could potentially be waived for you, filling it out there. They're going to have all kinds of information for you and your parents on what it's like to belong to that family at that institution. And then they're going to give you some free swag. You're going to get some things like t-shirts, cups, lanyards, stickers, notebooks, folders, whatever they have. Come to Glenville, we'll give you all kinds of good stuff. But aside from the admissions office, you're going to go on to the Academic Success Center, and it has a lot of different names at the different institutions. You'll see ours is called the Academic Success Center, Career Development, but they house several services to maximize potential for you guys. They'll have tutoring services if you fall behind in a class, or sometimes if you're going to school for athletics, they're going to want you to do some tutoring services just to stay on top of everything. Career services, they're going to help you with your resume, job application, and they're going to give you maybe some developmental guidance on getting a job after college. So they're going to supply you with all of those needs. Another thing could be like Veterans Affairs. If you or your parents have served, they're going to help you discuss all of the services that you could get for that. And then also any accommodations like accessibility services, if you need special testing requirements, that kind of thing is all going to be in the Academic Success Center or Career Development Center. So that's an important one that you're going to use a lot. Faculty, this is super important. Talk to the faculty. It's so important. If a faculty is not available during your visit, then I would schedule another visit or look into the events to see if they have any open houses where you get to really interact with the faculty, because that's how you're going to know if you're going to fit in with that family. If you're undecided, you're going to want to find out their top programs. Talk to the faculty, see what they have to offer you. If it's criminal justice or if it's psychology, what is their top program? And don't be afraid to ask questions. They're educators. They love to answer your questions. They love to help you. They want to be a part of this journey with you as much as possible. And then consider the future, because for your graduate school, they're the ones that are going to be writing your reference letters. So you really want to build a relationship with them that's going to be a lasting peer support for you. I still talk to my professors and they help me now in graduate school. So that's a big one. Let's see, next is student life. It's all a part of the college experience. You're going to want to see what kind of student activities are going on, what's campus life like, what kind of involvement do they have? Do they have open mic or trivia? What kind of prizes do they give out during trivia? If they have any festivals going on, any kind of thing like that. But another thing would be like clubs and organizations. Make sure that they offer something that can help you become the best version of yourself while you're at that institution, whether that's religious groups or fitness groups like yoga or just academic groups. Just see what they have to offer you there. Let's see, athletic departments. That may be a big thing for you. If you want to continue your athletic experience later on, you get a chance to talk with coaching staff when you tour. So talk to them and find out a little bit more about their team. You know, what it takes to make their team. Do they have a GPA requirement if they're NCAA sanctioned? Do they have scholarship money available? You know, college can get pretty expensive, so it's a good thing if they do have that available to you. And then, you know, what are their workouts like? Are they working out 3 times a day? And what do their practices look like? If you can get in on a practice, that'd be even better during your tour. Excuse me. Where do they travel to? Do they get to go to any fun places, or do they stay in state? And then how competitive their conference is. How competitive do you want to be in your athletic career? And then finally, this is mostly for your parents. They're going to want to know about the financial aid component. So I'll go ahead and tell you that the FAFSA opens on October 1st. So you can go ahead and start doing that then. And then when you meet with financial aid, just talk with the representative more about institutional aid, such as the merit, and if you were to qualify for that. Once you get your information in promptly, then they can get you an estimate gathered up, and that, I mean, that's not a final bill, but that definitely helps break down the cost of everything. Any kind of hidden fees like orientation fees or housing fees can be included in that. So it's important to get your things in promptly, because there is an EFC number, excuse me, that comes from your FAFSA. So that's how they get all that information to do your estimates. So that is all I have for who to see on your visit. But I will say, if you don't get to tour places individually, it's super important to get to tour on open houses and whatever the colleges are offering, because then you can talk to all of these people in one place.
All right. So I think that brings us to questions that you need to ask. So there's going to be some different types of questions. So I broke it into 2 parts. So you're going to have what to ask an admissions counselor. Now, these are questions that when you come into the office, you say, hey, I want to meet with an admissions professional. These are things you should ask the professional staff. And so here are a few things that I know you guys are probably thinking of, they're on your mind. Like, what are the important deadlines I should know? Early action, you know, regular decision, what's the final deadline? Are you rolling with your applications? That covers a lot of different things when you're talking about important deadlines. Next is early action at this school binding. So if I apply early and I get accepted, does that mean that I have to go? Finally, what materials do I need for my application to be reviewed? So that could be test scores, that could be transcripts, that could be, you know, application fee, or if you have to turn in something for a fee waiver, that could be essays or recommendations. So find out what that school requires. Every school is a little bit different. If I've taken dual enrollment, how do I apply? Do I apply as a freshman? Do I apply as a transfer? Do I have an option? What does that look like? Does your school offer merit-based and need-based aid? So that based on, Ricky was talking about financial aid, this kind of falls right into play with that. You want to know, what kind of aid do you guys offer? How is your school handling test scores this year? Now, I know this year is crazy, and we've all kind of mentioned a little bit of, differences, but how is your school handling test scores this year is important to know. Like, if I don't submit one, if I can't take it, am I still going to be considered? That's important to know. Can I submit additional essays and recommendation letters? So that's another important one. Like, if you've already submitted what you can with the general application, do you take extra? And how do I hold my spot if I choose to attend? So do I need to just sign a letter of intent? Do I need to pay deposits? What does that look like for me? So those are some important things to ask an admissions professional. And next we're going to talk about some questions that you need to ask to your tour guide. So your tour guide is going to give you guys a unique experience because they're a student, generally speaking. Sometimes it's the professional staff. But when you can talk to a student, that's going to do nothing but help you because you're going to get a real view of what the student experience looks like. So, and this goes hand in hand with some of the other things like what to see and who to talk to. But what residence hall do freshmen live in? Is there a residence hall specifically for freshmen? You should know which one it is. You should try to take your time to see what those rooms look like, what that experience looks like, if that fits what you want as a student. What's the walk to your classes like? And that's important because there are some schools where you may have to walk a really long way, or you may have to go to a different part of campus. There are some schools where you can get to everything within 15 minutes or less. You just need to know, how manageable that is from the freshman residence hall maybe, or how manageable that is for you. What kind of food do they offer and what do you like? Now, this kind of goes back to what Alan said about dining. You want to know if they have food that you like. You want to know what the students like. What is their favorite thing on campus? That kind of stuff. I know, for example, I work at Western, that we have a Chick-fil-A on campus, and if you go at the wrong time, you're going to be stuck waiting for a really long time to get your sandwich because it's very popular. What are your favorite classes? So, this may give you an idea of what do students like there. You may have a different major, but there are some general ed classes that probably a lot of people like, and it's good to get a point of view on what those are going to look like for you as a student. How did you find your roommate? Some people do luck of the draw. I did that and I lucked out. Some people have a best friend from high school. Some people at some schools have Facebook groups set up where you can meet other people and you can find a roommate before you start school. Find out, how did they go through that process? Because that might help you if you don't know who your roommate is going to be. What is campus life like? Do they have the kind of clubs and organizations you're interested in? Is athletics a big deal? Do they have a lot of home sporting events? Get to know that kind of stuff and what's important to you. What clubs and organizations are you involved in? And I should have put a question mark there, so that's my fault. But what are they involved in? Is it anything that you're interested in? Get to know a little bit about, what's available on campus, because I think that's really important for you to know if you want to be a student there, to find out a little bit about everything. So you're going to find out about some things from professional staff, but the student tour guide is going to be able to give you kind of the student perspective there.
All right, so we thought we would also let you know, in case you were interested in visiting our institutions, what the road is to visiting on campus. And I think all of us do offer a variety of ways to visit. As Jesse had pointed out, all those different types of visits we do offer at our institutions. So, and also usually it's not hard to find how to visit on a college's webpage. But it's always good, I think, to try to schedule that in advance as opposed to walking in, because that allows the admission staff and the college to be prepared for you. And if there are people that you do want to meet with, you can set that up a couple of days in advance and make sure a coach is not on the road at an athletic event or whatever the case may be. That way your visit can be maximized as much as possible. So, and then also, thought I'd list our contact information in case you ever want to email any of us or reach out to us at any time. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Definitely let us know. And maybe you're the first one in your family to go to college, and all of this is new to you. Hey, that's what we're here for. So definitely don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. And with that being said, that pretty much concludes our presentation, but we definitely would like to open it up here to see if any of you have any questions for us that we might be able to help you out with, maybe for our institution specifically, or maybe regarding the college search process overall.
Well, I think maybe we should talk about how the virtual and on-campus events look a little bit different this year, since while we're waiting on some questions.
Sure.
Yeah, I know we're offering both. We have just opened up for you guys to come to campus. We have some open house on campus, but we also have virtual tours. I don't know about everybody's school, but I know that's kind of what we're doing. So in case you don't feel comfortable.
Sweet Briar is doing the same thing. We have virtual tours 3 times a week, but we're also open for in-person tours. We are also doing virtual classes because we are not allowing potential students to sit in on our classes just to keep our faculty, staff, and current students safe. But that's a great way for you to interact with professors directly. They're usually small classes like we have here at Sweet Briar, so you get to ask your questions and directly interact with the professor as they're teaching like you would in a typical classroom setting. It's just from the comfort of your home.
So at Glenville State, we have Monday through Friday tours available on campus at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And those typically last a couple hours. But we also are doing, we have virtual tours online already pre-made and some pre-made videos. And then we also are doing an open house event on October 17th that you can sign up for as well on our website.
Concord also, we've been doing in-person tours for actually since the summer, and we do as much as we can to make sure you're safe, and we do limit the number of people. I think it's 2 families per individual visit. We take your temperature, and our support staff and maintenance staff make sure that everything is sanitized before and after you leave. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can absolutely do a virtual tour. We also offer some events, some Zoom-in Concord events where the admission staff actually hosts a virtual tour of the campus. And you can also go on our website where we have also, the admission staff has gone into several buildings on campus to show you the inside of buildings and talk to you a little bit about that. We are also offering some open houses in October and November. And once again, we're limiting those, I think, to about 30 families per event to be as safe as possible. But yeah, I think that you definitely, I always stress to students the importance of the college visit, no matter where you're looking. Nothing can replace that. And physically stepping foot on campus I think will tell you a lot about whether you want to be somewhere or not. No questions. We must have a shy group today.
I think that means we just did our jobs really well. We answered all the questions already.
We do have one. Someone has asked, out of the types of college visits, what's your personal favorite, or what would be the best one to choose in your opinion? I'll lead off. I think because I'm a people person, I would strongly recommend an in-person visit if you can. And like I said, all of us understand if you don't feel safe doing that at this current moment in time. But if you do have the opportunity to visit in person, actually get a physical feel of the environment, the area, the school, what's the culture like? How do students act? Where are they from? That sort of thing. And I think those are a lot of things that's harder to get without being on campus. But that's my favorite one. And I think everybody also remembers their college visit. I can remember my tour guide's name. So anybody else want to add to that?
I would agree. I would say our open houses are probably my favorite because you get more than just a tour. You get to meet with faculty and staff, and usually now, I don't know if they may be a little bit different this year because we just can't have as many people in a space, but you get a chance to do an information fair where you get information on clubs and organizations and student services and academics and all kinds of things. It's a really great experience. If you come to an open house, it just really gives you more of a full feel for what it would be like to be a student there. You get a free lunch, you get a t-shirt, you get all the really good stuff. So I really love open house. And if you have a chance, I would encourage you to do that.
I would also suggest visiting more than once. Visit while you're still applying to schools, maybe even before you start applying. We might have some juniors in this group. But then once you have applied, once you get your acceptances back, visit again to make sure, yes, this is where I want to be. And that'll also give you a chance to see the school in a different time of year. So you can see how bad the winters are. Does it snow buckets and buckets and you are from the beach and don't want to deal with snow or aren't used to snow? Is it, always rainy in October? You'll get to see it in different, in weather and, see what's going on at different times of the year, different events the school hosts. So definitely visit more than once.
Yeah, so the individual visits are very personable, but at the same time, they take place during the day. So that means that the professors are often in class and you're only meeting with certain people kind of scattered. So I do recommend the open house at any institution you're interested in because all the departments are present. They have all kinds of activities. You can see exactly what it is that they do. You can meet with financial aid. You can just get that college feel on an open house day.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. Just want to give one last quick call for questions for our lovely panelists. They did an amazing job. That was all really great information. So please do, if you're still with us, go ahead and drop any questions that you might have. We'll give you maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. And then we'll kind of wrap up together. So thank you again for joining us. When you do exit out of this browser, there is going to be a very quick survey, just of 4 questions, and we really would like to hear some of the information. Oh, we have a question, you guys.
Okay, that looks like that question says, what type of visit should you make as a junior? So I would say now, and I'll let everybody answer what they think, but as a junior, I would suggest, generally speaking, I would say do the open house junior year so that by senior year, if you want to apply. That's in my opinion, that's just what I've seen. And then senior year, if you want to come for one of the more personal visits to kind of make your final decision, that's generally what I would recommend. I don't know about you guys.
I would definitely recommend the same. So come to an open house. A lot of schools actually do a junior/sophomore specific open house in the later spring, because that's when you're going to start looking at schools a little bit more in depth, get ready to start your application since a lot of them open in August. So definitely do an open house then. And then like Molly was saying, go back again once you've been accepted or once you've applied. maybe do an accepted students weekend your senior year, just so you get the real feel of what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I would say of the students who I see visit multiple times, it's their first visit was like Molly and Jesse said, it was an open house. And so if I had to pick one that I had to do as a junior, it definitely would be an open house. That doesn't mean that you're setting yourself up for no success if you don't do it that way. But if you had to choose, like I said, I would do the open house first and then come back for something a little bit more focused later on as you're narrowing your college search down.
I agree. And I like that question because it opens up the opportunity for us to tell you that we don't discriminate. Whatever age you are, we would like to have you on campus. Start early, junior year, that's super important. So I would start at least when you're a junior, starting to attend all of these open houses or just any institution that you might be interested in, because your mind could completely change once you step foot on that campus for whichever tour type it is.
We do have another question. Someone has asked, does visiting the college give you a higher chance of acceptance? I would say, and speaking for all of the colleges that I've been affiliated with, is that wouldn't necessarily. However, if you're a person that, let's say your academics and or your test scores are kind of teetering the fence and you're kind of, it's questionable. The fact that you visited may show that you have a little bit more of a stronger interest. So it possibly, depending on the school and the admission staff and what their requirements are, it may show your interest and could give you a leg up possibly, but I wouldn't bank on that as a general saying that you visited, you're definitely going to get in, if that makes sense. I don't know if anybody else wanted to chime in on that. We have a couple more questions.
I was just going to agree with you, Alan, and say that some schools do look at what's called demonstrated interest, which means, oh, you've come to a bunch of events, you've been really active, you've been opening a bunch of emails, but that isn't necessarily an indicator of, yes, you're going to get in just because you really love that school. So don't let that be your deciding factor.
Another question we have, is it typical that colleges have open house events both in the spring and fall? Does anyone else want to open up with answering that question?
Sure. I mean, I think usually, yes, they try to do 1 or 2 in the spring and 1 or 2 in the fall. That way you have the option to see it at different times of year. Plus it opens it up for whatever time. Because if you can't come in the fall, maybe you can come in the spring. We try to do that for you. I know at Western we'll do 2 in the fall semester typically and 2 in the spring semester usually. Sometimes it's a little different, but generally speaking, that's what we do. I don't know about you guys, but.
We're the same here at Sweet Briar. We normally do 2 or 3 events in the fall and 2 or 3 in the spring. You can come to as many as you want or just 1 or none. And then we had another question asking if college visits are just open to juniors and seniors. And the answer is no. Well, it depends on the school, but generally you can come visit whenever. I would say probably no earlier than end of freshman year, early sophomore year, but you can certainly visit earlier. I think a lot of us also do group visits. So we've had groups of students from middle schools just trying to, get started on the college search process, kind of get that in their mind a little bit. You can definitely visit before junior or senior year.
I've always said this, there is never too early to visit a college. So my first visit, I'm a graduate of Concord. My first visit, I was in the 6th grade. Now it was kind of unofficial, but at the same time, it was focused in a certain way. So I wasn't just taking a a leisure walk across campus by myself. So I always remembered that and it planted the seed of college in my mind. So definitely, if you're a freshman in here, hey, you can definitely go and visit that school you're interested in.
Yeah, I agree too. And if there is some kind of stipulation on the age group, it'll be listed. So like we do have open houses for like Jesse was saying, for just our sophomores and juniors. It's just going to be a little bit tailored different. So if there is any stipulation on who is invited to that, then it definitely will be very clear to you before you come.
Well, thank you all so much for your questions. We kind of got a lot more at the end there. So thank you again for participating in this session. Just again, as a quick reminder, if you missed any portion or if it was just really great information and you want to make sure that you can reference it later, definitely make sure that you go to www.strivescan.com/Virginia, as well as being able to sign up for other sessions. So once you exit off of this survey, this session, a quick survey will pop up just with 4 questions. Please go ahead and fill that out for us and have a lovely day and stay safe. Thanks so much for participating.